Good morning to all of you, and welcome to First Unitarian Church of Alton. Greetings as well to those watching the service remotely. I am John Herndon, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. The First Unitarian Church of Alton is a small congregation in Alton, Illinois, spiritually led by the Reverend Krista Taves. We remember those who have come before us. Our ancestors are many, and their collective memories guide and direct us through all of our days. We are conscious of the land that we occupy is shared. The universe has granted us the perfect place to grow our food, give us shelter, and give us space for spiritual practice. To that end, we are conscious that we must protect this land that we borrow, so that generations to come can grow and thrive in harmony and love with the universe that is. We also recognize that the land is stolen and occupied from the first people the Europeans called Alainawik, but who called themselves Inoka. Others have come to invade and seize, while others to live in harmony and to share. Our land is baptized in the blood, sweat, and a river of tears from enslaved Africans who were forced from their homes and the homes of their ancestors to become chattel property in this land. May our spiritual practice recognize these relationships as we strive to live in harmony with our past, our present, and be forever conscious of the future that we create. We are a spiritual people, a people of faith and love, and we are so glad you're here, whether in the sanctuary or whether online. And I welcome everyone to this home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. And we open our service this morning with a prelude by our accompanist, Joy Heft. An important ritual in the Unitarian Universalist faith is the lighting of our chalice. Unitarian Universalists have many different interpretations of the flaming chalice, including the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. Join me in celebrating all these reasons and more. If you're watching elsewhere and you have a chalice or candle, please light it now as we all join in saying the unison words projected on the screen. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our heritage. Our opening prayer this morning is a responsive reading. And after each phrase, I would ask you to say, "We bear witness," and the words are projected above. We people gathered here today on the quest for truth and meaning bear witness. We bear witness to the record of human lives extinguished simply because these people dared to live authentically. We bear witness to the lives and reported deaths of transgender people globally so far this year. We bear witness to the lives and reported deaths of the transgender people in the United States so far this year. We bear witness. In these times of heightened anxiety, we who are gathered here today reject the teachings of division and ignorance and commit to siding with love against hatred. We bear witness against closed-minded ideologies that excuse evil acts in the name of religion. We bear witness against any administration that seeks to fuel their rise to power by threatening the lives of transgender, genderqueer, and non-binary people. We bear witness against systemic power structures that treat transgender, genderqueer, and non-binary people, particularly those who are people of color, as being anything less than human. We bear witness. On this day, we who are queer folk and allies gather together, uphold the first principle that speaks to the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We bear witness. For those transgender, genderqueer, and non-binary people who are gathered among us today, we bear witness. For those who are allied to the cause of protecting our transgender, genderqueer, and non-binary siblings, we bear witness. For those who exist boldly and unapologetically in public space as fully authentic transgender, genderqueer, and non-binary people, we bear witness. Those remembered deaths have not gone unnoticed by us. We bear witness. Sacred transgender, genderqueer, and non-binary lives do not go unnoticed by us. We bear witness. Our hymn this morning is number 34, and it is "Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire." And stand as you will. With bravest fire, and have the gift this week. You may be seated. Our story this morning for all ages will be projected on the screen and read out.
Morris Micklewhite and the Tangerine Dress by Christine Baldacchino. Morris Micklewhite has a mother named Moira and a cat named Moo. Morris likes Sundays because his mother makes him pancakes on Sundays. Mondays are great too because on Mondays, Morris goes to school. Morris likes lots of things about school. He likes to paint, he likes to do puzzles, he likes the apple juice at snack time, and singing the loudest during circle time. Most of all, Morris likes the dress-up center and the tangerine dress. Morris likes the color of the dress. It reminds him of tigers, the sun, and his mother's hair. He likes the noise the dress makes, swish, swish, swish when he walks, and crinkle, crinkle, crinkle when he sits down. He takes turn wearing all the different shoes, but his most favorite ones go click, click, click across the floor. Sometimes the boys make fun of Morris. Sometimes the girls do too. Morris pretends he can't hear their words over the swish, swish, swishes, crinkle, crinkle, crinkles, and click, click, clicks he makes when he walks. Morris pretends he can't hear their words, but he can. On Monday, Becky tried to pull the dress right off his back. "You can't wear it. You're a boy." On Tuesday, Eli, Henry, and the other boys wouldn't let Morris ride on their spaceship until he took the dress off. "Astronauts don't wear dresses." On Wednesday, Bea and Lila noticed Morris's fingernails. His mother had painted them for him the night before. They chased him around the playground, shouting, "Pinky fingers, pinky fingers." On Thursday, the boys wouldn't sit near Morris at the snack table. "We don't want you to turn us into girls." On Friday, Morris pretended he had a tummy ache. When he thought about all the kids in his class and the mean things they did and said, his tummy ached for real. His mother let him stay in his bed and read books about elephants. Moo sat in his lap. Moo liked elephants too. On Saturday, Morris's mother brought him some apple juice. As he took a sip, she stroked his hair. Moo purred loudly. Morris suddenly felt well enough to do a puzzle. He hummed to himself and felt better still. On Sunday, Morris crawled out from under the covers after a wonderful dream about being on a space safari with Moo. In the dream, they saw big blue elephants and tigers the color of the sun that Morris could hold in the palm of his hand. The elephants swish, swish, swished as they moved through the grass, and the tigers ate giant leaves that crinkle, crinkle, crinkled as their tiny teeth chewed them. The buttons on the spaceship click, click, clicked under Morris's fingernails. Morris wanted to share all the amazing things he had seen. He took out his brushes, put on his smock, and began to paint, using every single color he could imagine. He showed his painting to his mother when he was done. He pointed out the big blue elephant, the tiny tiger, the color of the sun, the tall grass, and the giant leaves. He pointed out Moo in his shiny round space helmet. "And who's that?" his mother asked, pointing at the little boy in the tangerine dress, riding atop the big blue elephant. Morris was hoping she'd ask. "That's me," he said. On Monday, Morris went to school with his painting rolled up in his backpack. When he had the chance, he put on the dress that reminded him of tigers and the sun and his mother's hair. Morris swish, swish, swished. The tangerine dress crinkle, crinkle, crinkled. His shoes clicked, click, clicked, and Morris felt wonderful. Eli and Henry wouldn't let him on their spaceship, so Morris built his own. He hung his painting on the front of it and climbed in, ready to take off. "Are there really elephants in space?" Eli asked. And tigers? If you follow me, we can find out, Morris offered. Eli and Henry followed Morris to a planet they had never visited before. As they explored, Morris swish, swish, swished, the tangerine dress crinkle, crinkle, crinkled, his shoes click, click, clicked. By the time they returned to Earth, Eli and Henry had decided that it didn't matter if astronauts wore dresses or not. The best astronauts were the ones who knew where all the good adventures were hiding. Morris smiled. He already knew that. When snack time was over, Becky demanded the dress. Morris told her that she could have it when he was done with it. Boys don't wear dresses, Becky sniped. Morris smiled as he swished, crinkled, and clicked back to his spaceship. This boy does.
Well, as this is our RE Sunday, so we will be singing our children out to go for their class. So, it's words protected above, sorry. As you journey, as you journey, may you go, love and hope go with, love and hope go with, learn and grow, learn and grow. Oh, okay. You can come back for those. But so when Robin asked me to do the sermon a couple weeks ago, and I agreed to, I was thinking originally about talking about our latest social justice initiative here, which is the Safety Act in Illinois, and trying to defend the Safety Act, which is basically pre-trial Fairness Act, or No Cash Bail Act, that the Illinois legislature had passed last year, was to go into effect January 1st in 2023, which is a very important, certainly an important initiative. And the Illinois legislature is now going into a veto session, and they will be reconsidering modifications to that. So we have been encouraged by the UANI and others to write to our legislators, our local legislators, and hope that they would defend that particular act. So I was going to talk about that, but then, life gets in the way, and so many other things were coming up, and so I was just going to do one of the provided sermons from the local sub-conference, the Midwest Conference. So I looked at that, and then I was looking at worship resources online in the UUA and realized that November 20th is Transgender Remembrance Day. So I suddenly had to drop everything, because this cannot go unspoken, and so we have to talk about this today. And I myself, as a cisgender male, white male, can't speak to the experiences, but I want to speak and let others' words speak for me. So I will be reading many people's words today. None of them my own, but they will be from other folks that are transgender. And I originally had asked Jamie Heilman, who is a member here, to come and speak today. And she was very glad about the invitation and was going to be here, but her wife, Sarah, is down with COVID right now. So just found out yesterday. So Jamie will not be able to be here today, though she will be with us in spirit. And she left me with some words that I will be using today. So today's message resonates with many of our UU principles, but three that I want to point out, and that is, number one, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Number two, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And number three, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. As now we do our joys and sorrows ritual, we foremost think about all the transgender folks that were murdered this year by senseless violence. And I believe the number worldwide is over 380. I forgot to check about the numbers in the United States, but it is too many. One is too many. The lives that were taken violently, some by suicide because of bullying and constant harassment, some and many and most by violent means of murder. And and death. As part of our weekly worship service, we take time for the expression of joys and concerns. In front of us is a bowl filled with water and stones available to place in the bowl, representing your joys and concerns. Please start on my right and proceed to the left. Take a moment to stop and reflect. Send your energy out to the universe and place your stone or stones in the water. Our next hymn is number 347. It's Gather the Spirit. It's number 347. And I think if we just sit in the pew and sing this together, that would be great. Our reading this morning is Transgender Day of Remembrance. Critique is resistance, resistance is revolution, by Lorette Giselle Alif. I am Lorette Giselle Alif. I am Lord's Ashley Hunter. I am Janet Mock. I am Laverne Cox. I am Isis King. I am Cece McDonald. I am Islan Nettles. I am Mia Henderson. I am Shelley Hilliard. I am Brittany Sturgis. I am Tiffany Edwards. I am Jizzy Fowler. I am Marcia P. Johnson. I am every Black trans woman that has ever had to live her life fighting the systems and people around her that seek to eradicate her existence. I am the woman that you have beaten, taunted, harassed, fired, and shamed. I live authentically in my truth, blazing a fiery path behind me that actively melts away the icy, exclusionary aura of the world that I must navigate. My hands are outstretched, and I am grasping every single one of my sisters that the T-door lists are trying to engulf. I am them. They are us. We stand in solidarity to redefine our own realities and to rebuild our community that was broken apart at the hands of white supremacy and colonialism. We stand against the entrapment of the boxes of gender normativity and rebuke those who seek to place indivisible cloaks across our claimed identities and articulated narratives. We refuse to operate in ways to fit systems and institutions that are inherently built to keep us out or to seek to subjugate us. We are the revolution. We are stronger than the co-modified victim narrative that has been forced onto our lived experiences. We are greater than the pity and sensitization of all the T-door events around the nation. I want to take a moment to honor all of my sisters who have been murdered for living in their truths. If it weren't for them, dying for what they believe in and dying for each and every other sister that walks this earth, I wouldn't be here owning my own voice. While we are all at our T-door events or celebrating trans lives throughout the week, let's begin to push our analysis a little bit further. Let's begin to engage in dialogue that acknowledges intersectional identities. I implore you to sit back and ask yourself how you contribute to the violence and injustice against trans women of color. How do you reinforce the marginalization and ostracism of trans people? We need to hear us. We need you to sit quietly, take notes, and begin to conceptualize what a restructured system that is void of misogynist, racist, ableist, etc. oppression would look like. It's not enough to read the names killed off by the normative nature of this capitalistic system. Moments of silence are not enough. Calling us courageous is not enough. Having one or two trans friends is not enough. We need to begin to develop more complex analysis of the world in which we live. We need to rebuke assimilation. It is an imperative to eradicate the prison industrial complex and the criminalization of sex work in all forms. I implore you to begin to question what has been ingrained in you since birth. Own yourself, and you can begin to see the truth. I want us all to see Black trans brilliance everywhere. And until that day comes, we will not stop. The movement will always continue. Our voices will be forever the loudest. We will always walk with the fervor and passion that our transcestors embodied. We are the revolution. We are goddesses. Our lives matter. Our voices slay. Today we discuss Transgender Day of Remembrance, Transgender Day of Resilience, transgender authenticity. So the message today is written by Jamie Heilman, one of our own members here. And it is called Transgender Day of Remembrance, TDOR 2022, and What It Means to Me. I always find it challenging to write about this subject. Academic writing, correspondence, creative writing, persuasive, marketing writing, all that comes easily enough. But this week and this day are difficult, not so much because of my own battles for legal recognition and to be treated as a member of our own human species, but as a woman who is lesbian, queer, and trans, but because I increasingly see an America torn between an ever-rising acceptance of our participation and existence in society, yet one in which we have 11 states who have passed laws or established rules banning part or all of the existence of transgender children, and even adults in some or all of public life. 65% of Americans believe in transgender Americans having basic constitutional, civil, and even human rights, like humans have, including 51% of Republicans. But how do we square this circle? Well, it requires setting aside the bitterness that I assure you lies within my heart, warring for dominance with anger, despair, hope, and grief, all moral combating for the top spot on my mental dashboard. Some days I find balance easier than others, and during this last Transgender Awareness Week, it was a tightrope act. The secure knowledge of steadfast allies in the progressive communities of the St. Louis region and the many splendored and infinite diversity of our queer communities in my Unitarian Universalist Church and other welcoming and affirming faith traditions at the Washington University and St. Louis Brown School and other educational communities, in my friends and family, and in allies everywhere is a literal gift beyond measure. In 2015-2016, during America's great bathroom panic, when Americans were terrified that a trans person might be peeing in the bathroom, and where the hell else would we? Over 175 anti-trans bills were introduced. In 2018, 19 bills were introduced. The number quadrupled in 2020 and rose again in 2022, with 155 such bills introduced by the end of October. In the 2018 to 2022 period, over 390 anti-trans bills were proposed, and a new world record were passed, 39, a nice, neat 10%. The tsunami of legalized discrimination legislation has been driven by conservative legislators who argued that these restrictive laws protect the rights of children, women, and families rather than curtail them. Others have framed them as religious prerogative, but interestingly, none of these sponsors are to be found when it comes to passing actual legislation that actually helps children, women, and families, like SNAP, TANF, VAWA, reproductive rights legislation, a paid family leave act, since the U.S. is one of the only countries on the planet without one, or living wage legislation. But nope, these folks are here for all the anti-trans bills. This, I feel, is suspect. For an example, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, upon signing a gender-affirming care ban in the state earlier this year, said, "We're going to go by how God made us. If the good Lord made you a boy, you're a boy. If He made you a girl, you're a girl. It's just that simple." But it is not that simple. And the vast majority of professional, scientific, medical, and psychological authoritative bodies affirm this, including the AMA, the APA, the WPAF, ACS, Aspect, and the AAP. Human gender and sexuality are as complex and multifaceted as all other components of the human experience. Easily seen if one looks at the actual humans instead of stereotypes, magic thinking, and caricatures. If you've noticed a pattern in the increase of anti-trans bills in election cycles, you would be correct. The culture warriors have elevated our existence to a top 5 status as a public threat. Along with crime, inflation, banning immigration, and breaking down what remains of our church-state barriers, 2022 marked a turning point when a majority of bills targeted children, particularly trans girls. Yes, I said children. When did it become okay to target children? All this ugly rhetoric, discrimination, and politicized violence has an effect. Some of the metrics rendering visible that effect is 300% increase in anti-trans violence since 2016. In 2022, seeing the largest record number of murdered trans Americans and the increase in attempted and completed suicides. As a white woman who is trans, queer, and lesbian, I would be remiss in saying that in no year since 2010, when I began tracking our murders, has the number of our dead been less than 85% trans women of color. I must hold this up and highlight who pays the price, first and worst, and it is trans women of color. I must also share that these numbers mean nothing, as the crimes against us are vastly unreported, and all too frequently we are disrespected and misgendered in death as in life. We think the number of deaths of transphobic attacks and hate crimes is at least 3 times greater. How does the trans community survive? How have we and how do we continue and still build community, resilience, and survival strategies? How do we bring more folks to the table and uplift their voices? TDOR, or Transgender Day of Remembrance, is one of those coping strategies. The Transgender Day of Remembrance was born in 1998, begun by trans advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith as a vigil to honor the memory of Rita Hester, a transgender woman who had been recently killed. The vigil commemorated Rita and all the transgender people lost to violence that year, and began an important memorial that has become the annual Transgender Day of Remembrance. From 1999 forward, the service has continued spreading across the world. A hallmark of the service is the reading of names, where known of all those who have been murdered since the previous year, along with the hope that next year there will be fewer names. We still await that occasion. It is spread to all major U.S. cities and over 30 countries worldwide. Oh, there's the light. The awareness is important in the world where it is still illegal to be transgender in 79 countries, and 22 nations have the death penalty for our existence. Many communities have evolved their own unique celebrations and commemoration of trans lives. The year of 2022 is different in so many ways. Despite our wins and advances, our staunch allies, we see legislation going backwards, our gains reversed. Make no mistake, the Dobbs ruling, which removed constitutional privacy, reproductive choice, and bodily autonomy for the rights of half of the U.S. population, is a direct threat to the very existence of trans people. Without agency, body autonomy, and legal recognition, we vanish into the closet or the grave. But at this time, at this very moment, we are still here, still fighting, still seeking equality, still alive in this bitter sea, still living with these seemingly irreconcilable contradictions. We are still here. Stewardship is both financial donations as well as volunteering your time, talent, and treasure. We continue to need support for worship, coffee hour, ushering. If you can't write a check, please help our church service thrive by offering your time to help. Please give what you can because all your gifts are needed for our church to prosper. You may mail your financial gift to the First Unitarian Church, Post Office Box 494, Alton, Illinois 62002, or you can give electronically through the Give Liffey or PayPal links that are on the church webpage. If you are willing to donate your time and talent, please contact a board member and let us know what you are able to do. Give what you will and what you are able, for you are a generous people. Please join with me in our offertory prayer this morning. May this offering equip us to inspire, love, and seek justice. So I have a few announcements for this morning. First one, every Christmas for several years, our congregation has provided gifts for families from the Oasis Women's Center. Since COVID, Oasis has requested we provide gift cards rather than the traditional wrapped gifts. This year we have a mother, Kim, and her 7-year-old daughter, Amanda. We need financial donations to be able to purchase gift cards, and the mother has requested Amazon cards. When you make your donation, please indicate Oasis on the memo line on your check or put cash in an envelope marked Oasis. If you donate through Give Liffey, write for Oasis in the memo line, and we would like all donations to be into the church by December 11th. And Nancy McGilson will purchase the gift cards and take them down to Oasis. Another announcement, next Sunday during the service, we will unveil a plaque that is being produced in honor of our longtime active member, Dr. Ron Glossop, who has moved to New Hampshire a few months ago to be with his family. And another announcement, Arthur Crawford has just gotten engaged to Lori Huber. So congratulations, Arthur and Lori. And I guess Robin said she had some announcements, but she's not here. But so she will probably make those known to the congregation through some kind of through email or whatever. So I invite you now to join me in reciting a prayer as I extinguish the chalice. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are keepers of this flame until we meet again. Our closing words today are a prayer for our transcestors by Laura Conkle. We love and remember our trans siblings stolen from us this year. We love and remember all of our transcestors stolen from us throughout time and space. Our hearts are broken. May we find the care in our community to keep grieving and keep loving and keep living. Let us pray. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our grief and our rage. We call out to you in our terror and our exhaustion. Please help us to gather ourselves together into each other. Give us strength, give us comfort, give us care. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our need for support and change. We call out to you in our dreams and wishes. Please help us survive. Please change the hearts and souls of those who directly bring harm to us. Please change the hearts and souls of those who allow harm to come to us through their absence. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our sacred wholeness. We call out to you in our full humanity. Please sustain us as we love and fight for ourselves and our trans siblings right now and always. Please bring us to a day when we may live whole, sacred, reasonably safe in the great wide world. So may it be. Thanks everybody for coming today. We'll gather now in the work